Assalamualaikum and very good morning. I be to Sir Abdul Hayyi Bin Salim and my fellow friends. In this presentation, I'm Fareeq Zakwan as the Managing Director of RE and Partners. We'll discuss the controversial issue of whether our Malaysian bar is free from political influence and the importance of having an independent bar in Malaysia. First thing first, the Malaysian Bar, a body established under Section 41 of the Legal Profession Act 1976, is endowed with perpetual succession amongst other things. Yet, to the thoughts, statements, and rules of its previous individual presidents through the years always remain consistent in that the direction of voicing the cause of justice without regard to their own interests and influenced by fear of favor in line with the perpetual succession of the bar. Of paramount importance is that the Malaysian bar must not be partisan in politically related matters. Without further ado, let's move to our first discussion. To answer the above question, this brings to mind the unpleasant flashback when the acquittal of Datuk Seri Tengku Adnan Tengku Mansor at the Court of Appeal sometime in July last year, after verdict of conviction at the High Court did not come as a surprise, as there were strong grounds in the 2-1 majority judgment supporting this. The latest development is that the prosecution has withdrawn this appeal to the Federal Court after the written judgment became available. Following Guan Eng's acquittal, it was the absolute prerogative of the AG to drop charges at any stage of trial before the delivery of a judgment on this ground. The bar was clearly partisan as did not even attempt to provide an intelligent statement. In November 2019, after Rafizi Ramli's and the former public bank clerk Johari Muhammad's acquittal of disclosing the banking details belonging to the National Feedlot Corporation and breaching the Banking and Financial Institutions Act, the prosecution appealed immediately against this as it was the AGC's view that the acquittals were clearly against the clear evidence. In the case of Khalid Samad and Surendran and R. Sivarasa, Datuk Sri Azalina Osman had made a comment most illegally that the trend of charges against PH leaders being dropped was worrying. This is because it is obvious that the bar is the only critical of cases involving UMNO accused, but either demonstrably supports the non-Barisan aligned accused or chooses to be silent. Hence, to answer this question, personally, I think that our Malaysian bar is not free from political influence. I do hope all members of the bar who love their profession to select representatives worthy of the post, independent and non-partisan, and above all, honest and with the integrity to create a legacy we can all cherish, as proclaimed by "No legacy is so rich as honesty." Now we'll move on to the second part of the discussion, where we'll touch on the importance of having an independent bar in Malaysia. Foremost, the bar plays a multitude variety of roles as it promotes professional improvements, provides legal aid to the impecunious, and stands up against the abuse of power and encroachment into the liberty of the people of this country. In addition, the independence of the bar means the corporate independence that a bar association must demonstrate in the face of executive or any other interference in the guardianship of its members' professional mission to protect the public interest in the rule of law, including human rights, the constitutionally bounded exercise of public power, and the proper administration of justice. Firstly, the bar acts as the protection of citizens' rights in a democratic society. This public duty has always been a central purpose of the Malaysian bar, although the intensity with which it has been pursued has fluctuated over time. This is no space here to list all the bar struggles and achievements, but the highlights will have to include all the listed below. Although well within the remit of a bar association, these projects are all the more important in Malaysia, considering the absence of an independent law reform commission and the failure of the Parliament to maintain a proper committee system to scrutinize bills and accept public submissions. The bar statutory purpose in Section 42 of the Legal Profession Act demands that the bar upholds the cause of justice without regard to its own interests or that of its members are influenced by fear or favor. No one should pretend that the bar or its members are immune from the effects of politics. This is because the bar has throughout its history and tradition assumed by mental, whether by accident or deliberately, of fighting for numerous causes which are deemed political. The 1988 judicial crisis is one of the examples. The question here, does taking up these important matters by extension make the bar as a political party and one which is opposed to the government? For this part, did you remember the birthday event where the birthday participants consisted of the general public who want a free and fair elections and wanted to gather at Dataran Merdeka to duduk and bantah? Actually, the Bar Council had sent out its observers to report untoward incidents and also arranged for an urgent arrest team to assist those detained during the birthday demonstration. And all these were done on a voluntary basis by the Bar to protect and assist the general public. Hence, there must be a check and balance in all aspects because the role of the legal fraternity in strengthening the democratic polity and the principle of rule of law is a universal feature, and this is one of the importance of having an independent bar in Malaysia. The third importance of having an independent bar is that the inherent power to employ the first principles of administrative law to keep the government in check. It is a safety valve without which no democracy can flourish. For these reasons, judicial independence must be safeguarded, integrity and ability must be rewarded, and respect for judicial decisions must be maintained. And the last importance of having an independent bar is to have a proper administration of justice. When we look back in the mid-90s, there was an anonymous letter accusing the Chief Justice and 11 other judges of corruption and grave improprieties. In the case of Adona Properties as the MPHD and Bunsam Boyani, a shameful decision legitimizing the transfer of stolen land was delivered, and it took about a decade to set things right. Another case that can be seen is where the Malaysian Bar takes note of the concluded decision of the Federal Court, which marked the end of a protracted legal battle since 2009 by former Orang Asli settlers, consisting of compensation from the Johor government amounting to RM 38.5 million was misused, mismanaged, and misappropriated by their former lawyers. The appropriated monies were then used to purchase 57 units of apartments. In conclusion, the Bar Council should be apolitical. I believe in freedom of association, but the Bar Council must remain free from politics. Its members have always expressed their opinions from the legal perspective, and it should remain that way. It also aspires to build an environment conducive to effective administration of justice and maintenance of rule of law, in which upholds the honor, dignity, and independence of the bar. When processes are transparent, the lawmakers, regulators, and civil servants are made to be accountable for their decisions. I pause to reflect that 2002 is a beginning of a new decade, and with the continuous support and the cooperation from the chambers, the bar, and all other stakeholders, I can only hope that it will augur the very best for the justice system in Malaysia. With that, may I wish each and every one of you a very happy new year. Thank you.